today we decided we would come out and make some tea and just kind of sit and talk and enjoy the woods. This is kind of odd weather for us here in November for it to be this warm, but we're thankful for that, and we're enjoying the weather. And we've got some hot peppermint tea here, and
it smells so good.
It smells so good, and
it's delicious.
Of course, if you've been on the channel before, you've heard us say that we feel like y'all are our family, so we kind of feel like we're your country cousins. Anyone who's watching this video, we can be your country cousins, and we just wanted to invite you out and have some tea with us.
Yeah, I brought my little stove. I have not done anything on this stove in a long time, but in the past I've made hot chocolate on it, or done exactly like this, brought it out and boiled a little bit of water for tea. I got this little Stanley cup set, probably on the Amazon or a camping website, I can't remember. And I like it because it's got 2 little cups that fit in it, and it's the perfect canister size to boil water. You could even probably make a little food, use it as a tiny saucepan. These little stoves, these little twig stoves is what they're called. They're kind of tricky. They're kind of hard to use because you're so limited for space, and then the size of wood that you can burn is so small and so thin that it burns up quickly. But it's good to get out and kind of sharpen my skill set, sharpen my fire building skill set. For me, it's always been easier to build a fire in the wood stove or just outside.
I can't break none of those.
It's okay. It's just kind of tricky when you're in a really tight, limited space. Really just because of how fast the size of wood that you can fit in that space burns up. But I do like to sharpen my skills to prove to myself that I can build a fire. I could cook on a fire. I like to know that I can depend on a skill set in case something were to happen and I would have to immediately call it into action from one moment to the next. So we are enjoying the weather. It is warm, but we're still enjoying it. And I know that sooner than later it's going to turn off cold. I saw one of my friends today, Elise, and she said, don't you know it's going to get cold really quickly, and it'll just go from this to bitter cold. And she's right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's what's happened in years past. So I know the camera's got a lot of smoke in front of it. I hope it's not too smoky.
Yeah, I hope it's not too smoky, y'all. Sorry if it is.
Hoping it's not like smoked completely out. May have to dampen the fire. Corey's feeding it, but we may have to.
All right, I'll stop feeding it.
We may have to kill the fire. Yeah, so I love the season of fall because just like spring brings new beginnings and new things, I think fall brings a closure. It's a closure because
it wraps everything up.
It's the end of the year. You're pushing and moving toward the holidays, and it is a closure, of course, for many. But one way to look at it is we'll close this year and we'll start over the next one. You know.
Yeah, we start towards a new year,
But I appreciate it. It's a time of reflection for me to say, well, this is what I did during the year, and this is what went well for me, or maybe this is what I'd like to do next time. But I also enjoy the season. Everything dies, the leaves die, everything dies back, and it's just something different. And the Bible talks about that, seasons to reap, seasons to sow. And
in Ecclesiastes, I think it's chapter 3, Solomon talks about that, and it's very interesting because he comes to the conclusion that out of everything and all the seasons, and if you notice, they're opposites of each other, kind of a positive and negative, I guess, if you will. But he comes up with the conclusion that at the very end of it, because all that's going to happen and you can't control it, the best thing to do is just basically enjoy what God has given you here under the sun, which is on the earth, and take things day by day. And there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Hot.
It's very hot, but it's
just
good.
Barely had any touch my lips, and I was
good.
like, it's too hot.
So being out here is also making us reminisce about being kids. When we were kids, we played right here a lot. And we played in these woods a lot, and right out there where Naomi and Austin live was our aunt and uncle's house, and we played with our cousins here. And I think everyone can reminisce about growing up, and that's a big thing. Growing up where we lived kind of in this rural area is just playing outside, and you have to comment and let us know some of your favorite memories playing outside. We had so many clubhouses, and we would collect white rocks from the creek, and it's just really sweet to
sweet to think back to it for two reasons. Number one, the gratitude of I grew up in a place where I could do that, where I had a freedom to choose, a freedom to run around and go and play and never have to worry about anything bothering us. But also the other reason, not just the gratitude, but then this is what the boys are going to do. This is what my son, not only is he going to have the opportunity to be outdoors, play and roam and explore. That was the funnest part about playing outside as a kid, is feeling this, like, what would you say, this vein of exploration that run through, like, what's over here? I haven't been around that bend yet. I haven't been in this part of the woods yet. But I was going to get to do that in the exact places that I went, the exact same set of woods, probably the same clubhouses. And that's a really sweet treasure. It's a really sweet gift, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing to think that the boys will be able to do that. And that's kind of one of our main motivations behind our videos, is we just want to share this beautiful place that we're fortunate enough to live in. And we like to think of it as we want to send content out of this holler out into the world, and we know that we have some viewers who are across the world, and we just want to share that content and share the peace that we feel so blessed to have living in such a beautiful place, and so we can be your country cousins.
Yeah, and what this country cousin would do is I'm going to give you some advice. One thing you need to do is, cold weather is coming. Make sure you got all your cold weather preparations done. Definitely remember, when it's cold and you're in a building and you are, or maybe you're in it for a little while, but then you're going to leave it. Think about your pops freezing. You want to think about stuff like that. If I were you, I'd make sure I had some long handles or long johns. If you're somewhere where it gets cold, I've got my long johns out just in case I need them.
Yeah.
If you've got a wood stove, I hope you've got your wood cut and seasoned, for that matter.
Yeah.
What's weird is, we've not run the wood stove. We run it once. And that's about it. And I'm like, it's November.
It's November
We've
already.
only run the wood stove once. That's kind of weird. But
another thing that's good to do, this blanket actually come out of my car for, we always, even though it doesn't get as cold here in the winter as it does some places, we don't get a lot of snow, but we always try to have like a wool blanket in the car. We've got jump packs, a few snacks, just a little backpack to where if you were to catch yourself out overnight somewhere,
you wouldn't freeze to death. There's been instances where people run off the road, your car dies, you got a flat tire, you're not in a place of service, no one's going to come to help you, traffic situations that cause you to, like, traffic's moving, but you're just going to have to sit for a long time because there's a wreck or a road closed or something like that. That would be good advice. Good advice to just kind of carry, like, I keep my little twig stove, and these kind of preparations in a backpack in my car. So if I want to go get it and take it in the woods, I just go in my car and get it.
Right.
But if I were to become stranded or something, I would have snacks, I would have something to cook, I would have something to sustain me until I could get over that situation or that emergency. Not a bad idea to also tell people, of course, where you're going. This time of year, if you're going to go hunting, you're going to go hiking, you're going to go snowshoeing, something.
Yeah,
Definitely tell people where you're going. But
I'll be really interested to see, though, if people comment below about their memories, about reminiscing if you played outside, if you had we used to build kind of sheet houses inside and outside, just stretch a sheet to one piece of furniture or the other and sit under the sheet with a flashlight and a book and whatever. That was really fun. Of course, you can do that outside, too.
I also want to know, you need to comment below and tell us, we're drinking, this is just straight peppermint. Sometimes I do a lot of the times, this is tea bags that I got at Corey's, we got at Corey's here. I buy just loose tea filters, and then I buy the loose leaf herb and then put whatever I want at that time. So a lot of the times I'll put ginger, peppermint, and chamomile in some tea. Occasionally I'll do something else. You have to tell us, maybe you don't even like tea and you're like, oh, that's gross. Mom cannot stand hot tea. She says it tastes how a barn stall smells. And I said, okay, are you talking about like wet, nasty animals, or she's just talking about like grassy, like hay? She just thinks it's like drinking hay water. So when we're like,
I love tea.
Like if I'm sick, I want hot tea, and there's benefits. You can make yourself some hot tea, put some a little bit of orange juice, lemon juice, something good in there. And she's like, I'd rather die.
C.
Yeah. Rather die than drink the hot tea. I think I'll just go over here and call it quits.
That is crazy.
She hates it.
This has been so nice, though, to just come out, build a fire, make tea. This honestly feels like a miniature
I
vacation.
was about to say that, yeah.
It feels like a mini vacation, and it just seems like the world we live in these days is just turning faster and faster and faster. And I often say it just seems like the world encourages you to have 2 handfuls of just anything and everything, at one time. And it's so nice to just slow down and be still and be outside in the fresh air, that this feels like a little mini vacation. And maybe if you're like us and you're in a super busy season of life, you can't just take off on a vacation, or even for a long weekend, or maybe even for a day or a half a day somewhere. But it's nice if you're able to, for even just 30 minutes, just get away and let your mind rest. And it's so nice to do that outside. There's something so restorative about being in the fresh air and away from the screens.
It's very grounding. It's
yeah.
it's actually, there's so many studies showing the health benefits of grounding, of being outside, of surrounding yourself with the resonance and,
Yeah.
not to sound crunchy, but the resonance of nature. Like
Yeah.
this water has its own frequency. Everything out here does, and I think it's very beneficial to do that.
Oh, yeah.
We're a bunch of water and a little bit of electricity here is what we got going on. It's what we're made of. So
That's right.
we got,
Yeah, so...
I am so thankful though. So I'm so incredibly blessed and so thankful that I get to live in a beautiful place where I have access to be able to go into the woods and explore and sit out here in nature and do that. Another piece of advice I would have is, even if you say, well, Katie, I don't have a place that I can do that, go to the park, anywhere that you can get outside, and just make
anything.
that part of, if you do it for 20 minutes a week, a day, a week, it's very beneficial. I always feel so much better when I go back to whatever daily tasks or whatever I have to do. If I've just been outside for, even if it's just 5 minutes, I take one lap around the house and say, oh Lord, I just got to walk around the house just for a minute and reset.
Yeah, and I heard someone say one time, and I thought there was a lot of wisdom in this, that if you do a lot of mental work, then rest for you could be physical. But if you do a lot of physical work, then some kind of mental rest. So if you do a lot of manual labor, so resting your body, reading a book, doing a crossword puzzle, something that kind of makes your brain work more. But if you do a lot of mental work, then some kind of physical work. Maybe taking a walk, or even if you can't take a walk, if you just did a little workout in your living room. But something that kind of works the opposite side. And
it's balance, right? It's such a game of balance.
And I think that's helpful. And even just 10 minutes to just sit still and close your eyes and pray, read your Bible. But even if you don't read your Bible, you just sit still, pray, be still and know that I'm God. Psalms 46. It's a good thing to do.
Sit around. Sometimes I just stare. Just being without having the pressure of something to do or something weighing on you.
Oh, that's huge. If we could do that for like 5 minutes every hour.
And I think the reason I crave more this time is because I have less of it now.
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir when on the other side of the screen. Anybody who has a child, I'm preaching to the choir, but you just don't realize how...
especially more than one.
How divided your attention is. And you're like, oh my goodness, when's the last time I just sat and was like, just stared, just give my mind a break. And it's so funny, before I had Ira, I was just like, I was the opposite. I never wanted to do that. I was like busybody. Go, be productive, do X, Y, Z over here, over there. And I like to go and do things and be busy and work. And, there's just people who are more like that than others. But on the other side of it now, I'm like, I wish I would have, I had a chance. I wish I would have just stared at the dust, But this is also a very fantastic season of my life, and the best season for that matter. And I wouldn't change anything about it.
Absolutely.
You know that your tea is like rich and good when you look. Now I understand these cups are not clear, right? So they're going to cast a little bit of a color, but this tea is like dark. It's like dark amber brown.
So good.
And I think one cool thing about these little cups is, or any cup that was smaller, the less water you put in, the stronger, steep your tea's going to be.
True.
So I was just thinking like, man, this is so rich. I appreciate, and this is the perfect size. Like, I'm not going to drink probably any more than this.
Yeah.
So I appreciate a smaller, stronger cup of tea that stays hotter for longer. And
yeah. One more thing that I wanted to say before we get off here, what you said about seasons of life, that is something that's so big. It's just not trying to live outside of the season that you're currently in. That's been something that's been big for me, is just not trying to live outside the season that I'm in. And Of course, I don't want to live outside the season I'm in. I'm raising my baby, which is a wonderful season, but it can be real easy to, without realizing it, to try to live outside the season that you're in. So we're going to sit here and finish our tea and enjoy it and think about reminiscing. It's just so nostalgic being in the woods for us, because we think about playing and running around as kids and just enjoy being outside. But you have to drop us a comment and let us know kind of what you enjoyed doing as a kid. Let us know what kind of tea you like to drink. If you like to drink tea, let us know kind of what your go-to kind of rest is. If you like to go outside or read a book, or
maybe you have a twig stove.
Yeah, let us know.
You know, and you, Dad, it's funny, I was talking to him and I said, we're going to go down here and make this video. And he said, well, I really like that twig stove. But he has another stove that he said he likes too, because it's a little bit easier to feed wood to. So now I'm thinking maybe I should check that one out, and we could come out and make a video. Because not only would I like to do tea, I think it would be fun. And I have the stainless steel little skillets, or
we could cook.
Did you say? Yeah, I was gonna like little pots in my pack, and we could cook some turkey bacon and make some tea. Or
yeah, you have to let us know if you like this style of video, because we've never done this before. So let us know if you enjoy this and you'd like to see more.
One more thing before we go, and I would never compare myself to someone as what would you say, accomplished and really cool, but what little I dabble in this and what little my skill set is, it makes me feel as cool as Luke from the Outdoor Boys. So anytime I come out and I build a little fire on my twig stove, and literally all we did was boil water to make tea, I'm channeling Luke from the Outdoor Boys, because he does some amazing things.
Yeah, he does.
Way more advanced than I'm sure I could ever be with my little twig stove. But
me too.
Definitely it would be fun to cook us a little turkey bacon or a little whatever you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
Real bacon, listen, I'll eat anything. It doesn't have to just be turkey bacon, whatever. Make you some, Luke from the Outdoor Boys does some really cool bread.
Oh, yeah.
Easy to make bread. So maybe we'll do that. Let us know if you'd like to see that. And I guess we'll just sit here and enjoy for a second.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to
real life.
Real life, yeah.
Thank you for watching. God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you on the next one.